Hi, welcome back to Chop's Garage, everyone. Those who watch the channel regularly will know why this Suzuki Jimny has got its bonnet up. So this is the little Suzuki Jimny we bought off another dealer. It came here running and driving quite nicely. I decided to go for a little test drive in it, having already sold it to someone, but wanted to test drive it to make sure that it was going to be all okay. That sale was going to be trade as well, straight onto someone else. But I always do, if you watch the channel regularly, you know I always take the car home and back at least to check it's going to be okay. It came with a new MOT. We gave it a good clean up and it actually came out quite nicely. It still needs some paint work, but the other buyer's going to do that. So I started driving it home and I did hear a squealing from a belt on the engine, but carried on driving. It then went quiet and the alternator light came on, meaning that the alternator belt had broken. I carried on driving for a little bit longer, for whatever reason, in the fog of a Saturday night, wanting to get home, forgetting that it obviously runs the water pump as well. The car started to get hot and obviously the battery ran flat. So I happened to have a jump pack on me, which meant I could put it on the battery and allow the car to drive. And rather than get recovered, I decided to drive it back here and it got hotter. It did stay out of the red, but it did end up bursting a top pipe here, and we now think that possibly I've done the head gasket. Now, I got a lot of grief in that video. A lot of people seemed to think I didn't understand what was going on. I did understand what was going on. Sorry for the shaky camera. I'm on my phone at the moment because my battery's run out of my GoPro. I did understand what's going on. It was a Saturday night. I wasn't that far from the unit and decided I wanted to make it back rather than sit for 2 hours, wait for the AA, who were going to tell me, who were no doubt going to send out an engineer rather than something that could recover it. And that meant I was gonna, I was gonna be sat out on a Saturday night for ages, and I got the car cheap and I could afford to put a head gasket on if needs be. So some people were polite about it, some people were divs, and I had to remind them at the end of the day it is my car, and if at the end of if I wanted to set fire to it, I can do whatever the hell I like with it. I paid the money for it. But hopefully a lot of people have said that these engines are super tough, and if I didn't let it go too far into the red, then it may well have survived. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on the new alternator belt, and we're going to be putting on a new top pipe. We're going to fill the car up, we're going to get it up to temperature and see if it overheats. If it overheats, we know the head gasket is bad, and we're going to have to do the head gasket on it, or try an additive. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of that, but it is a cheap car after all. But yeah, that's where we are with it. We're going to do it ourselves because normally I do outsource a lot of my mechanical work, but it's Saturday afternoon, so it's the following Saturday, and Saturdays I like to try and just do something I want to have a go at doing rather than getting too bogged down in work stuff all the time. Like I always say, it's got to be a bit of fun as well. Haven't got my hands dirty for a while, so we're going to get my hands dirty on this one, save all the labour costs and get it done myself. So we're going to have to do a little recording on my phone because my GoPro's just run out. I am going to stay in the shade here as well because it is blazing sunshine today. I don't fancy burning my neck again. So what we've got to do is the power steering belt runs in front of the alternator belt, unfortunately. So that's going to have to come out. I did get that belt as well because this is very cracked, this one. So, and I'm going to clean up the pulley wheel there as well. I need to clean up the, you can see here, there's a lot of crap on these pulleys as well. Sorry, you can now. A lot of crap on these pulleys that needs cleaning up as well. So I'll wire brush them down before fitting. There's one nut at the bottom of the alternator. It's going to be a fiddle to get to. I don't know, I'm probably better coming from underneath on that. For the moment, I think to get this belt off, I think I just need to release the tensioner there. Now I'm not sure what tension should be, so I might get something and mark up its current position and put it back in that position, and then see what this sort of tension on the belt is like then. Now I've cracked that 13mm off. I'm loosening the bolt for the tensioner. As you can see, it's quite a squeeze in here. My hand is just there. I guess you could pop the radiator out for ease. But I did watch a YouTube video on this before and the guy managed it without doing it, so I'll keep struggling on for the moment. If it gets too much, I'll whip that radiator out. So there's the old power steering belt. Definitely needs changing, doesn't it? That's the tensioner out. It seems the mark I made is pointless because that spins freely on the outside anyway. The position is there. You can see where the old nut was. Now I'm not going to be able to see that when it's on the car, so I'll mark on the outside of the housing there. Right, we've got a proper time waster taking the mocker out. Turned up out of the blue in this BMW convertible. Some dodgy plumber I guess the only consolation is that he's just fitted an old lady's boiler, so he can probably afford to buy 4 mockers just off that one job. Of course, it's Ian, gas guy. They're looking to get rid of his BMW and get into something else. Round here, there is benefits to having something with a bit more ground clearance than this, to be honest. But Ian, being a dodgy plumber, you know the first thing for us to do is let's run this reg through Car Vertical and check he isn't trying to sell me a pup. For those of you who don't already know, Car Vertical is the largest online database of used vehicle records with over 7 billion parts of data on it. So it's an essential check when you're looking at any vehicle. So all we do is pop in the reg. So let's do the full vehicle check. And off Car Vertical goes, checking all over the world, in fact, for data relating to this car. Our report's ready. Let's see what it's got to say. So, good start. Greens across the board. Mileage looks like it's okay. Never reported as stolen. No accidents. Isn't outstanding for finance. Spotted activities going through its MOT history and any other points of data it's found. Goes through here, confirms no outstanding finance, never been a driving school car, never uses a taxi, never been seized, hasn't been imported. Checked in multiple countries for it being stolen. Mileage wise, we get this nice graph that tells us that this has been a consistently used vehicle. It's put decent miles on each year and it's consistent right the way through. That, for me, that's just like a sign of being a quite reliable car, because if you've got big dips, you know that the vehicle's been off the road for a period of time. You know, you want to go and have a look at what's been going on with it. Get down to the damage report. Check multiple countries there, and there's no records of this car having been in an accident via any claims. So it looks like Ian isn't trying to sell me a pup, but that isn't always the case. Check out this Car Vertical report on this Volkswagen Golf. So this one's come back with an alert for an accident. If we scroll down, Car Vertical's even clever enough to show us where the damage was. Here it shows us the vehicle was a Category S write-off and notes all the areas of the vehicle that were damaged. But not only that, it's managed to find some images for the accident as well. Here you go, photos of how large an impact that was. You imagine buying that vehicle without knowing that, or perhaps even going to see it knowing it's a Cat S, but you've been told it just needed a front bumper and a headlight. So as you can see here, Car Vertical is an essential check if you do on any new vehicle you're looking to purchase, or perhaps maybe even one you've already got. Now the good news is Car Vertical are giving Chops Garage viewers a discount code for their first Car Vertical report. Just check in the description down below. And I'll take this opportunity to thank Car Vertical for being a continued sponsor of Chops Garage. So he's back from his test drive. It's time for negotiations. We've just done a Car Vertical in your car, mate, and there's some problems. Hold on. There's no point paying me off. I can't give that to Car Vertical.
40 lira, mate. Is that enough?
I don't think they'll clear the history of that car off of the their system.
Is it that bad?
It is that bad, mate. You need more.
N, C, F and G? Yeah, but 200 lira is a lot of money, mate.
I'm afraid it's probably, your car's probably worth about 50 quid.
Thank you.
All right.
Just take it anyhow.
What do I do? I don't get cash at all, Mr. Taxman, do I?
Yeah, no,
Cut. So we're recording this because Ian's having to pay me money, and it's far too enjoyable not to watch.
Look, tears, proper tears.
So Ian has decided, despite my generous part exchange offer, to sell the BMW privately. How much are you going to put the BM up for?
£3 grand.
£3 grand, 2,995.
Yeah, 2,995.
And it's got a full service history up to when did you say? 127. 127. It's got 137 on it now, and it's got an MOT till February, isn't it?
February, yeah.
There you go, guys. You want a cheap convertible? Jobs are good 'un. Speak to this man, Gascar. Put a link to his channel below.
Yeah.
You can bombard him with comments there, and maybe you'll have a bit more footage as well, possibly from today. I don't know.
Made your payment? Why? Oh, we're having a few technical problems. Not me, look. It's not me, look. It's not me.
So not only have I got to deal with Ian, but it sounds like Petey's here. It's like a little reunion. Yeah, it is. Petey on his bike. Shout out below if you've been watching the channel enough to know who Petey is. Right, with all those vagabonds out the way, let's get back to that little Jimny. So now for the alternator, we've got this bolt here for the adjustment, and there's one below for the housing somewhere. I've got to find that one, and then we should be able to move this, slide this in with the bottom bolt undone and this one loosened off. We should be able to slide this in towards the body of the towards the engine and whip the old, well, it's not going to be whipping the old belt off because it's broken, isn't it, but put the new belt on. Hopefully the bottom pulley bolt, bottom bolt for the alternator is a hex head, not a 12mm like everything else. You can't even see it from the top. Now I've got that in, I might be able to. I normally like to knock these in with a hammer a bit to make sure they really seat, but I haven't got the room to do that in this occasion. Perhaps I should just whip the radiator out because I've only got that bottom clip to do, and it'll make it a lot easier because there's only two little bolts at the top. I might do that actually. Let's see if I can't get this bottom clip off the radiator. If so, I'm going to hoik the radiator out. It's going to be a lot quicker in the long run. Right, we're going to have to pause for just a minute because we've got someone coming to look at the mocker, and obviously we've got to pay for playing with stuff, so I'll give myself a quick clean up before they get here as well, and then we'll be back straight on it. So now with that lower bolt loosened and top bolt out, I can move the alternator right the way in there so I can fit the new belt. But before we do that, clean off all this. So radiator out. I was able to get the radiator out first, and then I was able to get the radiator out first and then get the housing out afterwards, working it around this. So now I've got a lot more access to get into things, and it will just mean that I can do a better job of getting the tensioners all right and so forth. Remember, this channel is not about telling you that I'm some master mechanic. The whole idea of showing you mistakes and going along the way is to prove to all of you that it is just undoing bolts and you can all do it. There's going to be people out there that know how to do these things faster and do them better, and they're welcome to comment, and I always take on board the feedback, and the advice is really useful. So you know, go for it if you've got a better way of doing this, but this is going to allow me more access with my great big hands to get this done better, hopefully. So feed the belt over the top of the fan there, and I need 2 hands for this, guys. 2 seconds. So it's on. It's looking a little tight for my liking. I don't have the old belt to compare it to because it obviously came flying off, didn't it? So, and I can't get hold of the shop today, and I've got it on there, and there is some small amount of slack in it, but you can see where the position of the old alternator belt was. It was there. This one's all the way over here. So I guess it will free up a little bit with use, but I'm not entirely happy. Comment down below what's your thoughts. We might have to run it and see. I guess the worst is it's just going to break off again, isn't it? But I checked online, it did come back as 1.3 Suzuki, but obviously we know that different years there can be slight variations, but I think we'll just have to run it and live with it for the moment. Lever bar to hold the alternator, and then check the tension of the belt. I want to be able to just twist it on itself. Any more than that and it's going to be too loose. I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. Right, that's the belt on. We're not massively out of place with the original position actually, so with a bit of stretch that'll probably go back to there. We've got about the right amount of twist on the belt. I should be trying on a longer section, but I can't quite get down there. So now we can do up that bottom bolt, and then it's time to get the power steering one on. That'll be interesting with this tensioner. Not done that before. So I'm glad I took the radiator out now for this, because I'm trying to use this and the pry bar to now line up the previous position of the tensioner, which is about there. I'd have really struggled with the radiator in place, so now I've got a straight shot getting that bolt in. Right guys, it was just a case of putting a tensioner on, but off camera, because to be honest I got so fed up I just started hacking into it. The bolt on the back here had moved out of position and I didn't have enough thread to put the tensioner on. You can see there, and that was stiff as you like, wouldn't move anywhere. Went to put the tensioner on, did try and knock it back round, but obviously up against the engine I couldn't see what position it needed to be in. So the power steering pump is fitted to this bracket is fitted to the side of the engine. I thought I'm just going to have to whip it off. And now you can see I'd never have guessed it needed to get back to that position, so I can do it. I'm going to put something in there, I'm going to wedge something in the back of it next time to stop it from moving when I put it back together again. But it's always a simple jobs, eh? Well guys, I think after all that, it may well be that I misdiagnosed that. It looks like the end of the bolt's broken, but I didn't notice it breaking when I took it off. The bolt came straight off. I should have had a little bit of thread left in the end of it, shouldn't I? So unless I'm missing something here, I'm going to have to make up a bolt to fit on there. So I've put in a bolt for the moment. It is threaded all the way along. Ideally it should have a non-threaded section for the tensioner to move freely on, but I want to get the car back together for the moment. I'm going to go online and see if I can't track one down. If anyone finds one, let me know. That retaining bolt, but hopefully this should do it for the moment. Gets back on the road, and obviously the purpose of this is to find out if it's going to overheat again or not. So I've just left everything a bit loose while I get the rest of the bolts in for this power steering pump bracket, and then fingers crossed we should continue on a bit more smoothly. Fingers crossed. Right, so power steering belt on again. I can get about a 90 degree on that. I'm not sure what the torque settings are on this. I might just go and check them a second, but my bolt seems to have held for the moment, and it was spinning freely enough on it. Again, I just want to get this thing up to temp and see how we're doing on that front. So quick double check, everything is as it should be. And yeah, like I said, I'll just nip inside to see if I can find what the torque settings are for those, just to be 100%. Right, can't find them, so I will just have to wing it and then get the boys down at Moore's to have a look at it beforehand. We're just running it quickly to check all the belts want to stay where they should, and then we'll shut it down. So did everything stay where it should? Yeah, we kept tension on everything. It didn't slip straight off, so far so good. Let's get the radiator back in and get it topped up with coolant. Put away all these tools. It's nice to be able to work outside though, isn't it? This isn't work, it's playing, isn't it? Let's be honest about it, guys. Let's be honest about it. Keeps me honest, keeps me out of trouble, doesn't it? So that's the radiator back in. I'd certainly recommend taking that out if you're doing this job. You could have taken the fan off as well, but with the radiator off you don't have to worry about that, and there's a lot of fiddly little screws on the fan. So now I've got to get underneath, put the lower pipe back on again, which no doubt will be fun, and then get the new top pipe on, and then we'll be ready to fill it full of coolant. So there we go, top hose, new top hose on, bottom hose on, and we've only got 2 bolts left, which are for the bottom of the housing. Just need to whip under and put those on for the plastic shroud, and then we're ready to fill up with coolant. Right, I filled up with coolant. I'm not aware of any bleed points on this. I will do a little bit of research, see if there are any bleed points I can get to. I've given all the pipes top and bottom a bit of a squeeze. Make sure we are going to have a mix of the 2 different types of coolant, but for the moment I'll live with that. Drain the whole system if it's not overheating. So I guess the only thing to do now is start her up and see what happens, isn't it, really? Well, temp's starting to read. We're about, what, 3 or 4 minutes in now? By the way, for those of you that were concerned, I'd left the belt on the side of the road. I found pretty much all the belt inside the engine bay, and it's very crusty indeed. Totally shredded. Well, 5 or 6 minutes in, sitting idling, and at the moment it's sitting just under half at the moment, isn't it? So we'll put the tools away, leave it running and see where we are. So all the tools are packed away. It's been a good 10 minutes or so now. I haven't looked at it, I've been brave. Let's have a little look, see. Yeah, temp has gone up over halfway. I think we need to take it for a drive really and find out what the score is. I mean, it has been sitting here obviously in the baking sun, just idling, so running around with some wind down the front of the car should cool it down. I think it's the only way to be sure. So then let's go for a little drive and see what happens. We'll keep the blowers on full, try and help circulate that water. I'm obviously a bit tight on one of the belts by the sounds of it. we'll keep very close to home so we can spin it around quickly if needs be. Well guys, I've been running on the Philly to South Malton Road back and forth, and it's resolutely staying under half temp. So perhaps filling up from the top hose help things. It is getting very low on fuel, so I can't do much more. I think I'm going to go down into South Malton, put some fuel in it, and if it behaves, take it home and back. Tell you what has decided to happen, there's a flipping driver's windows decided to pack up for some reason, which is not good when it's this warm. I've been running as well with it back on cold on the temp, so I thought that might be artificially sort of keeping it lower down, but as you can see, staying bang under half. Quick check. We've got heat in the radiator and we haven't used any coolant. I did overfill it slightly when I you know, I was just allow for if it was going to be using any. Before it was obviously using all that. It's not pressurising the bottle either. There's no bubbling in the bottle, which is a really good sign. So yeah, I think I'm going to give it a little blast off. Just give it a kick hose down because it's a bit filthy from sitting. Go and get some fuel in it. Take it home and back. Well, she's had a quick rinse off. That's where we're going to leave the video because I'm getting very short on battery and I've got to rush off to an appointment. So if you want to find out what happens with that run home and back and whether we actually totally fixed the little Jimny or not, you better hit that subscribe button. For those of you regularly watching, we got some good news on the Nissan Micra, but I want to hold on and we'll do that in the next video. We had the Discovery go down to Moors and get its underside treated, and they said that the MOT test that lasted it was over the top, so I'm pleased to say that's coming back with completely treated underside. So we're just going to finish off the body work on that, give it a final polish up, and then that will be photographed ready for sale. And we've got more cars coming in. We've got more cars coming in this week as well. Obviously, we've got to finish off the Jag paintwork as well. The Audi TT, got to get on and do something with that now. And a little Fabia Estate is still sitting there waiting for work. And of course, we have the little blue Micra, which we may well get round to. Anyway, thanks as always for watching. Catch you again soon.